Yo, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and comment down below if you got any questions or criticisms about the video. Hello again, you disgusting robot lovers. Welcome back to another AlphaStar cast. Now, in the previous video, we celebrated reaching 4,000 subscribers, and in the process of a day, we've jumped up almost another 200, which is beyond incredible. So again, nothing but my gratitudes, and thank you guys for watching the channel. I'd said there'd be another giveaway in this video, and there will be, but I can't integrate it right now because I'm actually recording this very early, and I want to give it a few more hours for people to get their comments in. So I will be editing that in separately afterwards, which is why it'll look a little disconnected at the end. But through editing, I think somewhere around here, I should be displaying all of the top 8 players eligible, or top 8 commenters. And again, this is your selection of gift cards. So thank you all for participating in this. But we have some good news about AlphaStar. I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get the intros done first and get the dad jokes out of the way. Because in the top left, we have the Blue Terran player. It's Butte, but I'm going to call him Butt. Because let's be honest, guys, butts are better than boobs. In the bottom right, we have the barcode. In this TvT, it's AlphaStar. Okay, so in the previous video, someone actually left a comment that said, if you tell one more dad joke, I'm going to unsubscribe. So let me ask you, why is Peter Pan always flying? Simple. He never lands. But you know what that makes that joke so sweet? It never gets old. Okay, AlphaStar update news, everybody. This is really cool. So it's been really difficult getting my hands on replays, and I'm not saying this is going to get any easier going forward. It's also very difficult to verify which of these are actually AlphaStar replays. Things like checking control groups versus human players and all that are some small details, but there are some people out there faking the replays. And I don't want to bring you guys unverified broadcasts. I mean, let's be honest, that'd be pretty lame. So I was getting a little bit upset knowing that it's getting harder and harder to find these replays after its limited run of the ladder. However, as of today, I'm recording this on August 9th, it's been announced through a couple of pro players through Twitter and a couple of Reddit posts that looks like there's another version of AlphaStar out on the ladder. I don't know if there'll be a lot of games, if it's all different races, but it's been pretty confirmed by a couple of verifiable sources that there are versions of AlphaStar out there. Now, at the time of this broadcast, sadly, I don't have any of the replays, and some of the pros who I've talked to about this have very specifically said, oh, you know, I was doing a build, I was going to use this for WCS, I might let you cast the replay later, but for now I want to keep it private. And I totally understand and respect that. So you guys might get to see some cool pro versus AlphaStar action in the near future. But for now, we just continue on with the already existing replays, I suppose. Now, I should note that of all the AlphaStar replays we've been casting, Terran has looked to be one of its best. I don't know if it's just the tanks, the micro, you name it, but AlphaStar's Terran has been the most impressive, I think, of all of them so far. We did, of course, yesterday through Bogdan cast a really cool PvP, which I guess if I'm doing YouTube right, I'll be probably linking up here around now. That was a particularly cool one, not because AlphaStar did anything super flashy with micro, but primarily because AlphaStar just did some cool stuff, like in terms of build, that I've never seen before in a PvP. It was wild. At any rate, we should talk about Butte, but he's playing a bit odd here. First off, I really like this wall. This is a really smart thing to do on this map in particular, especially in the TvT where you're worried about playing against Reapers. It would appear to me, just watching the initial build here out of Butte, that he's probably been proxy reapered several times before. He's had some bad times, and maybe that's just what the previous game was leading into this one, because a blind bunker like this with no scouting is odd to say the least. In fact, a lot of what Butte, excuse me. I keep wanting to call it Butt. I love butts, but a lot of what he's doing here is really just odd. The bunker is first and foremost, but I mean, this would wall off against Reapers, and then the Reapers could only come through here if it was Reapers, but we're past the timing now. And instead of salvaging the bunker and getting on with the economy, he's chosen to almost double down here with this weird turtle defense. Missile turrets coming up all over the place, but additionally, he rushed out high-sec auto-tracking, which I think is just such an odd thing to do. This adds +1 range to the missile turrets and also planetary fortresses, but playing in this incredibly defensive, super turtley style is not unheard of. There are plenty of players out there who have unrightfully obtained higher rank from playing this style, and in TvT especially, I can understand the desire to do it. Personally, I hate playing this matchup. Of all the matchups in the game, this is the one I'm willing to insta-leave when I'm on the ladder, because TvT can just be so frustrating at times. But it's also one of the coolest because of its comeback mechanics. I love the way siege tanks influence the matchup. Watching Marine Micro is always cool, even as I am an avid mech fan myself. Nothing but respect for people who can play this matchup well. But this unwarranted paranoia will be paying off as this Banshee hits the main base, and AlphaStar is probably like, does not compute. I have no data about anybody building a blind missile turret at the 4-minute, 5-minute mark. And let's be honest, nobody does. But the follow-up out of our blue Terran is actually not that odd. I do hate this. Oh no! Butte, what have you done? He put the planetary at his natural. Okay. I'm having some second thoughts about this player, but regardless of what I'm thinking in the game, he does have a third CC on the way, and as odd as this opening is, as incredibly defensive as this opening is, it is one that is turning into something that looks a little bit more normal. Like the double Ravens, for example. I don't agree with the building armor. I feel this is more like akin to casting Bardino when he's one of our amateur players. The Hellions and the Reapers contemplating running by, but that's a full bunker, so they're going to back away. And well, there's no siege tanks out for our blue Terran. Again, the Ravens are coming out, which I think is incredibly odd. He invested in Corvid Reactor. This gives Ravens more starting energy, and I can't help but wonder if this is actually going to be a mass Raven game, which, let's be honest, AlphaStar has struggled against weird and non-regular builds. You know, we saw bunker rushes throw it for a loop and other such things. I gotta imagine there's very few replays available where they could have programmed... What is going on here? Where they could have programmed in a player who goes mass Ravens into its database. So what's kind of cool about this, well, this is odd to see, to say the least. What is cool about this is we're going to get a look at how AlphaStar reacts to things, opposed to how AlphaStar builds things. Because auto turrets are going to present a whole nother can of worms of problems. You're going to have a lot of interference matrices going out more than normal. Every tank should be disabled, and as we've talked many times before, AlphaStar's tank usage is one of its strongest assets. Now, of course, for Butte here, what worries me the most about watching the way he's building is not that it is objectively not right or anything like that. No, nothing so pompous. It's more like, this is how I play, and I am not good at Starcraft, okay? I love this game, I play it frequently, but I've never been Grandmasters. I've been Masters at my peak. So for the most part, I sit around Diamond level, and this is one of those games where this looks like I'm doing a double take. Did I play this game? Did I play AlphaStar and forget about it? Because this dumb turtley style, all it's missing is battle cruisers to bear the mark of Rifkin. Now, it looks like AlphaStar itself actually did a little bit of auto turret harass over here. Okay. Some damage done outside the range of the planetary fortress. Super duper awkward, but it cost him the Raven. Or her, as we've been referring to it. Regardless, the harassment is a non-issue in this game. When you've invested this much in auto turrets and planetary fortresses, it also means, unfortunately, you've not been investing in army. So Butte has a really solid defense for now, but also has no way to push out and do anything to its opponent. It's gonna double expand while this goes on too. That is bold. That is so bold. I like the drilling claws. I like the armor. I like the theory behind what the blue Terran player in this game is doing. But the practice of it, I feel, leaves something a little to be desired. No harsh judgments here, just all kinds of question marks, because I'm genuinely curious to see how this works. I'm glad this is a weird game, though, to be honest. Not because I'm rooting for or against AlphaStar, or for or against the human in this case, but it's more to the point that this is a weird game. This is really going to test AlphaStar, I feel. Because it's really easy to pre-program an AI with a build order, right? Oh, you build your barracks on X number, build your command center and expand on this number, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's pretty easy to do, I would say. I think the impressive part about AlphaStar and the whole machine learning and adapting thing is not like changing its build from game to game, but more like playing to its strengths of what's happening in this game. Like, for example, it continues to invest in siege tanks and banshees, and actually these are some odd missile turrets, I will say the least, but it's expanding, and this might be the weirdest game AlphaStar has played on the ladder to date. It is strange to see the continued investment in banshees, though. It's double banshees, but I don't know if AlphaStar has it in it to upgrade the upgrades for it. So no hyperflake rotors outside of cloak. Vehicle weapons are coming down, not air upgrades. Things like this. But all in all, the banshees, of course, can't shoot up. And for a player who's going mass Raven, which, let's be clear, I'm like, I gotta go triple check. Was this secretly Catch Rock or something on the ladder? But for a player who's gone mass Raven like this, those banshees won't help out much at all. The auto turrets are just so dang deadly, too. There are no missile turrets in the mineral line. There's a lot of missile turrets going forward. This is so odd. I feel like I see things like these missile turrets, and I see things like these missile turrets, and I just can't help but think AlphaStar is malfunctioning. It has run into Ravens, and its programming doesn't know what to do. But I take all this back. Hold on. He's going for hyperflight rotors. I'm checking these control groups again. Like, this is definitely AlphaStar. This is amazing. Okay, so hyperflight rotors, for those who don't know what this does, it makes the Banshees speed like demons coming out of hell. They go so fast. I think they're as fast, if not faster, than an Oracle, to give us some better context. So flying past these missile turrets, oh, it doesn't know what to do. Flying past these missile turrets will be a lot easier to pull off. And of course, for our Terran, like, the missile turrets are really only on the outsides of the base, right? There's nothing here on top of the production. There's nothing here in the mineral lines. Still hasn't salvaged the bunkers yet, so it's money for later. But oh my goodness, mass auto turret coming down. As stated before, auto turrets do a lot of damage very quickly. They don't last very long, but they kill the missile turrets, they kill the supply depots. The Marines and the tanks, of course, being pulled to deal with this, but they're just going to time out. And while this happened, looks like those Banshees tried to hit back in the main. I'm just a little speechless. I love this, though. I'm glad this was one we had saved, I suppose. This is one of the most strange TvTs, regardless of whether it's an AI versus a human or otherwise. Scanning to the top, sees that Banshee. Ravens, I don't think, can do much about this. That should be outside the range of the auto turret. But I should note, we talked about high-sec auto tracking being upgraded. Now this makes a lot more sense, actually. Building armor will benefit auto turrets, and on top of that, high-sec auto tracking increases the range of the auto turrets by 1. Something I had not considered because nobody goes mass Raven. This is not a common thing, and I really want to stress that to the viewers. I regularly cast in the Korean leagues high-level TvT players, and a lot of TvTs because Korea has more Terrans than not a lot of the time. And through all of my adventures, never do I see people do this. It's builds I've heard of, and it's builds I've seen, but nothing firsthand, nothing this crazy. Looks like Widowmine's planted around the map and grabbing a few units here and there, which is nice. One, of course, to lace this command center, and AlphaStar does not appear to be going back to dealing with it. Ravens do back away from this. So one of the big drawbacks to mass Raven, as fun and memey as it is the auto turret range being only castable pretty much directly underneath them, which means to get in range of those siege tanks, to get in range of the Marines, our human will have to fly into it, basically. But Planetary Fortress will hold against the Marines, no question about it. These are low upgraded, no upgraded Marines. It's all mech upgrades for AlphaStar. The tanks get caught out, not sure what to do. Auto turrets coming down all over the place. No interference matrix, but death. And being down almost double the army supply. Somehow, some way, the Ravens find a way to make this work. But the part of this I really want to stress and emphasize are the resources lost. Remember, all of the things these Ravens are doing, as expensive as they are, and if he loses the Ravens, it's terrifying and awful. Oh my god. But as expensive as they are, all of their attacks, these are free units. The auto turrets cost nothing but energy and time. Banking this up over time, the resources lost now 10 times. We may have, ladies and gentlemen, we may have just found the John Connor of StarCraft 2 when it comes to fighting AlphaStar. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this has been so ridiculous. AlphaStar as well, not just the human who's playing strange and odd, but the robot as well. There's extra command centers aplenty. Widowmines have been blocking out bases and delaying construction. More auto turrets are coming down, shift queuing all over the place. Has to fly over the missile turrets, which does suck a little bit, but the auto turrets get in here, and actually, this Planetary Fortress does have building armor. I didn't see it get snuck out, but for AlphaStar, getting building armor is going to be really beneficial. Not needing the engineering bay for, like, 1-1 bio upgrades, it makes a lot of sense this is how this played, but that mass Viking count is awesome to see. As I had mentioned, through many of these casts, we don't see much variation out of AlphaStar, so seeing it adapt, maybe not in real time, maybe this is like a Plan C programming, I don't know, but either way, this is something where he's dealing, or it rather is dealing with what is possibly this threat of Ravens. Now, at this point of the game, we should highlight Ravens are light units, and having gone mech like this, with +2 weapon upgrades especially, Thors would be, oh, crazy good in this situation. Mass Viking's not bad, don't get me wrong, but having a couple Thors walking around with those tanks could do wonders. Now, it appears that rather than finish the command center, AlphaStar has brought a new command center over. This is incredibly odd. As I mentioned, there's some programming flaws, I think, being created out of this game. Command Center not fully repaired, so still burning. Pulls another SCV to deal with this. Meanwhile, Widow Mines continue to spread all over the map, and Butte is just all over the place. Literally, there are Widow Mines sprinkled everywhere on the map. There is nowhere. Look at his vision.
Base is under attack.
There is no way for AlphaStar to traverse this map without being caught. Oh my god. The anti-armor is going to help a bit here. The auto turrets below this will deal 3 bonus damage now to all these Vikings. Having lost their armor like that, they cannot take that fight, knowing that full well, AlphaStar pulls back. More auto turrets, though, giving chase. It's the only time in Starcraft 2 you're going to see Vikings run away from Ravens this hard. But finally taking a couple of losses, and finally some of these Ravens start dying, but still the resources lost so very one-sided. No player really with an incredible bank, but they are getting there now. Butte, of course, not maxed out, but his dependency is more on gas than it is on minerals. So you will likely see our Terran player float a lot of minerals this game, which is actually a bit of a mistake because several of these gas geysers now are not properly saturated or overly saturated. Looks like he's fixing them now, but gas being the most valuable resources with Ravens costing so much of it. The drilling clause is really cool too. Of course, this means the Widow Mine will stay stealth after firing. Oh, big shot, big damage. Another one looking for another hit. It doesn't have to be crazy game-ending damage for these Widow Mines, but they keep chipping away at the Vikings, and most of these Vikings are probably going to be at half health. I mean, humans don't repair their Vikings. I don't imagine AlphaStar does either, to be honest, but another Widow Mine shot pops off here, and this has been so frustrating having so many of them to just constantly walk over. At this point, I think my greatest question is not, will AlphaStar win this game? My greatest question is, does AlphaStar tilt? Because I would be so mad walking around the map constantly running into Widow Mines like this. But the Viking count is at 28. This is the most mech I've ever seen, and I had no clue that AlphaStar had this in him, but auto turrets drop. With the tanks going down, there's like 1 or 2 Banshees in this army. Now we're producing more of them. We got +3 vehicle armor finishing soon. That'll benefit all these Vikings. Reduce some of that nasty auto turret damage, but the stress needs to be auto turrets deal so much damage. Armor only helps a little bit. What makes it worse, though, is by going for +3, of course, it's all this money, it takes all this time, and Ravens can just completely negate that with an anti-armor missile landing at the core of the army. Painting those units orange, making them take 3 bonus damage from all sources. The armor means nothing at that point. I do like the use of the Banshees, though. Flying around the map, being very mobile with this, but... oh, the massive Ravens comes in once again. Auto turrets drop, realizing this is not the fight he wants to take. There's so many missile turrets here. This is insane. Both players have made so many missile turrets this game, to the point where it's comically and just stupid. In fact, we're going to take a look in just a moment at just how many missile turrets have been made. Give me 1 second here, folks. I'm watching the death of these Vikings. They fly over more of them. Widow Mines walking to the front line. Vikings have bonus damage versus mechanical. That's cool. But, oh, they're so dead. They're so dead. One of them, not even going to get out alive. Missile turret grabs this guy. All right, so over the course of this game, we've currently got 35 and 32 missile turrets respectively. Add into the fact that we've had probably another 15 built between them, and this is the most missile turrets I think I've ever seen in a game of StarCraft 2. Not to mention the auto turrets, but that's a whole nother can of worms, right? Auto turrets, unfortunately, I don't think they show up under units or structures lost, so we have no idea how many auto turrets have been cast this game, but we know it's a lot. We know it's a freaking lot. More of them just slapping the ground, and that command center is just dead. It's stuck between all the auto turrets. It's 18 damage a shot. 18 damage every 0.57 seconds. That means every second, approximately, there's 32 damage being pumped out of these. It's so much. You just can't ignore it. A ring of missile turrets up here to the top right. Banshee's getting destroyed and denied. Oh my god. AlphaStar, I feel, genuinely does not know what to do in this game. This is incredible. It's not so much that the Terran's winning, excuse me, the humans winning. Like, that's really cool. It's more that we've watched AlphaStar, even in its losses, play in ways that make sense. Play in ways that, according to the rules of StarCraft 2, are what you should or would do. Banshees and Vikings versus Mass Raven, I don't think is the correct answer, but more to the point, like, what would you do with this? And AlphaStar confuses me or anyone else. It's just building lots of missile turrets, and it's building lots of command centers. but there's nothing, no damage going down on the other side of the map. The one big attempt we saw was all the Vikings dying. There's no tank push, there's no Marines. The auto turrets here are trying to chew through that command center. Planetary Fortress has fire armor, of course, so it's not dying that quickly with the SCV repair, but the orbitals are. And with the orbital command centers falling down, that's going to be a lot less mules, a lot less scans, which AlphaStar is needed to deal with those Widow Mines throughout the course of this game. Raven's constantly dipping in, dipping out, getting a little low, but he does actually kill the robotic command center. AlphaStar's planetary fortress goes down. There's no planetary over here. So auto turrets have free reign to fire away. The Banshees must be pulled into this fight lest he lose another base. And AlphaStar's not willing to lose another base. It is also starting to go for its own Widow Mines at this point. Perhaps sick of taking enough damage from the Ravens, but this is where it gets a little scary for the Raven player. All of his units are going to be stacked up for the entire duration of this game. You're never going to have these Ravens leave a cluster. They're never going to spread out in some giant flying V formation. And if Widow Mines catch him off guard, he could lose all of that in an instant. And let's be clear, as powerful and ridiculous and cost efficient, again, who get the resources lost? And the APM, what's going on here? As incredible as all of these things are, if Butte ever loses this army, replacing it is kind of out of the question. And there's no plan B. You know, this person came to the game intending to do Ravens only. There's no vehicle weapon upgrades, there's no bio upgrades. This is a Raven only game. And while they do have a really good bank, my point of not replacing it comes more from the production. There's more starports for AlphaStar than there are for Butte. These Widow Mines have a hard time burrowing, but they do barely get that burrow off. Banshees continue to harass the base. Meanwhile, back over here, this has been cleared out. This base was cleared out. He's lifted the main base over to it. This base was cleared out. This has been the most harrowing game of AlphaStar's career. Holy cow. I don't know why there's a proxy starport. Wait, why did there was a proxy starport built this game? Okay, I don't know the rhyme or the reason or the why, but there's a proxy starport adding to that starport count. Now the Ravens here have got to kind of gauge what they want to use their energy on. Having used a lot of it on auto turret harass, there's not unlimited energy, obviously, but there's enough here for plenty more auto turrets, as you can see. So if you end up wasting 7 on 3 Banshees that might fly away from it, you can't do this kind of harass. And oh my god, the auto turret damage is insane. Buildings just getting plucked away like they're nothing at all. That Banshee count is on 13, which is having no problem actually killing the auto turrets, which is great. But the Widow Mine count's only on 8. I talked about Widow Mines possibly being the factor that gets AlphaStar back into this game, but that's going to require a lot of luck and a lot of mistakes out of the other player, the human in this case. The human. He's actually feeling so confident, by the way, that he's floating a command center over to AlphaStar's half of the map. This is amazing. Widow Mines almost pop off on the cluster of Vikings. Oh, I know it's for my entertainment and your entertainment. I feel a little bad at this point. It's like poking an animal at the zoo, but with auto turrets instead of a stick. Meanwhile, this command center does land. If it turns into a planetary, it will kill the missile turret and the refinery, and it is going to turn into a planetary. So that stupid thing is going to happen. Oh, that Widow Mine got a really nice shot, softening up a lot of these units. Now, it's worth noting for those who don't know, maybe you're not so in tune with StarCraft, and this whole time you've been screaming, why is this commentary not talking about the Seeker missile? Why are the Ravens not shooting at the bombs that I know they shoot out? Because I've been a fan of StarCraft for years. But I guess my apologies to the viewers, we didn't really go over that because it's been so long for me, but it's now occurring to me. Some of you may be having these thoughts. But they changed it a little while ago. The missile that comes out of the Raven is no longer capable of dealing any damage whatsoever. Added to the fact that actually the auto turrets are the only way for it to deal damage, it does instead remove armor by 3 of all units it hits. You've got interference matrix, which will also black out any mechanical unit, so you can effectively remove every single one of AlphaStar's units from the game. But as you saw there, no actual damage from the missile, but still that armor plating now being basically removed temporarily while they're painted orange. Banshees taking on missile turrets are not something you see too often, but they go for it. Vikings could land and add to this, but probably shouldn't, especially with more anti-armor reapplied. Now, this doesn't stack. We should note that, too. It is only a flat -3 armor. Oh my god, these Widow Mines. I wish there was a way to... You can look at resources lost, you can look at units lost, but what you can't do is see how many scans have been burned in this game. Because, of course, AlphaStar's had to rely on scans this entire match to see the Widow Mines. Down to 4 orbitals. One like this getting in some trouble. Lifts it immediately. Probably a good call in this case. But perhaps starting to run out of scans as the game goes on. I don't know. Missile turrets side. These Widow Mines actually start taking out some of the siege tanks, which is, again, funny. I didn't realize this Widow Mine was camping this starport. Anything that comes out of this gets hit by that Widow Mine. It will one-shot a Viking, but I don't think it one-shots a Banshee, if I'm correct. I think the Banshee barely lives. Yeah. Okay, 5 Banshees at a time. Tanks are stuck in the main. Oh no. AlphaStar, how long has this been going on for, bud? Just lift the factory. You could walk these tanks right out of the main base. Not that this is a huge chunk of the army, but it is a noteworthy amount. 5 tanks not being part of any battle because they appear to be just stuck rallied in the main is a little awkward, to say the least. Okay then. 4 Ravens being produced, replacing the few that have died. The resources lost now 16,000 to 50,000. That is a combination of minerals and gas, of course. And I should have looked at the time. I don't know how long this replay. Every time, just so you guys are aware, when I cast these games, I sit down with you guys and I watch them live for the first time, right? This is not something where, like, I fast forward or pre-recorded. I really should have taken a note of how long this game is, because I have no clue at this point how long this game goes for. Like, I'm sitting here agonizing now, like, is this actually going to go on for, like, an hour? Is it going to be 20 minutes? Like, what? We're at the 26-minute mark, and it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon, unless somebody makes some crazy mistake. But, what am I continue to fire off of the Vikings? Grand total of 58 Banshees. 47 Vikings have died this game. 31 Ravens is really noteworthy, too, but when you look at the two, apples and oranges, you know? This is ridiculous. I continue to reinforce with Widow Mines, though. That's another, like, 52 that have died this game, but more on the field that are helping just be so very terribly annoying. It's really nice. These Widow Mines aren't getting crazy massive kills. It's not like a cluster of 4 Widow Mines hits all of AlphaStar's units and then, like, it's GG. But what it is doing is it's softening a lot of them up, right? I don't know any battle where these Vikings have been at full health. I don't know any battle these Banshees have all been fully repaired. Like, every time there's something going on, they've just recently taken a Widow Mine shot, whether it's on the outside or the inside of the army. Oh, no, kind of like that. Oh, man. Of course, every time I look at AlphaStar's army supply, it looks so much bigger than it is, because while we're watching this roaming, I guess, band of Banshees and Vikings, we know that there's approximately 20 some odd supply stuck in the main base, probably another 30 some odd supply in Widow Mines just scattered around the map. God knows how much money has been invested in missile turrets too. But the point of this is the active army, the mobile, the moving, the part of this that we're watching closely for AlphaStar is not that big. Very small, actually, compared to the grand scale of things. And finally, with, I guess, all these bases mining out and these bad trades, AlphaStar's starting to really run out of cash. This is the... Wait a minute. This is the last base mining for AlphaStar. And there's not even that many options to go elsewhere because Mr. Raven has actually taken all the other bases, even clearing out the proxy starport to take this one. AlphaStar is broke, like actually broke. As soon as these mineral patches are gone, it's done. Okay, so I just finished agonizing about how long this game could go on. Maybe it won't be that long. But real talk, this is a situation where I don't think AlphaStar can win this game. The army supply remains fairly maxed out, which is cool and good, and you know, as it should be, but blitzing this base now is the best thing AlphaStar could do because it needs those mineral patches more than it needs to deny the Terran. I mean, the Terran's sitting on like 17, 18 grand right now in minerals. Who cares about that? But oh, the Widow Mines walk forward from Butte. I keep waiting for this to be like a game-ending hit, but it's not. And 124 army supply still remains. Tanks have given up trying to leave the main base and have instead chosen to siege up. All right. Widow Mines are gonna shoot a Liberator. I didn't even know when a Liberator came out. Okay. But AlphaStar is a Liberator. I didn't even know AlphaStar had the capability to make a Liberator. This is incredible. But at the same time, Widow Mines don't hit buildings. Banshees can't engage these missile turrets. Those siege tanks in the main base would be so freaking valuable right now in terms of trying to siege up these bases. But it's noteworthy that AlphaStar did not kill this. And now there's 100 missile turrets, and I don't know what it can do. Is this what despair feels like? 29 Ravens. 20 freaking 9 Ravens. Pretty much maxed out. Now he's given away a lot of the Widow Mines. That's why he's made up all the supply. Auto turrets don't need to be that great. There's so many of them. Things continuing to fire. I'm a very chatty, very talkative fella, but this might be the most speechless I've ever been in a game of Starcraft 2. But regardless of how I'm feeling, and regardless of how the actual pacing of the game goes, oh man, more Widow Mines. The fact is, AlphaStar's pretty much out of money. It's trying to repair. It can't even afford to repair. Like, I wasn't kidding. These are the last mineral patches. There's about 800 minerals left for AlphaStar. Liberator sieges up against the auto turrets, but that's awkward because I guess AlphaStar doesn't know it can't shoot buildings. Oh boy, that's a massacre and a half. More auto turrets coming down here. SCVs go for the repair. Planetary Fortress isn't do or die, but it's probably gonna die. What little money is left can't even repair this. And the SCVs get slaughtered. The base goes down. And that was the last bit of mineral income for AlphaStar. It is about to hit rock bottom at 0. It's dropping mules for some long distance mining because that's what desperation looks like. This is not good. Now for Mr. Terran, I gotta be honest, guys. There's some trolley people in the universe. Nobody really goes Mass Raven. Don't expect this to be a standard build, and don't you start doing this on the ladder. But in this particular game and in this particular instance, this has worked out. This has worked out very well. I'm unsure why weapon upgrades started getting invested into. Still at this point, there are no units that would benefit from that whatsoever. Perhaps our Terran just saying, screw it. You know, I got money, why not? I got 20,000 minerals, almost 7,000 gas. No big deal. Oh no! AlphaStar just being chipped away at here. Widow Mine after Widow Mine after Widow Mine. Oh my god! The auto turrets take out what's left. What? There's one Raven and the 5 tanks that are still stuck in the main base. I'm not sure why a command center flooded home, but you do you, AlphaStar! Yeah, there's just no money. It can't even mine. There's no energy for mule drops. There's nothing. These auto turrets kill the bases. AlphaStar's making a Raven and a Widow Mine because I guess it's got gas, but it doesn't have minerals. And that makes sense because both of these units cost more gas than they do minerals. But 2 orbitals die simultaneously. No bases remain on the map. And at this point, GG. GG. Butte, the human, will defeat AlphaStar. Now, again, thank you guys for watching the video. We're going to roll off for those wonderful people who commented on the last video. So you'll see an awkward cut here, which brings us to this screen. So make sure you guys subscribe to the video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. But good luck to all. Every chance is equal. Congratulations, Anas Benosmen.